I feel like I was dolling my personality down to show people what they wanted to see and get the likes and the comments. And that was genuinely like making me feel empty inside, and I was losing myself because I didn't even know who I was anymore. For anyone that is getting into reality TV, no one prepares you how to act when you're on reality TV. Like, no one's like, okay, your first brand deal, this is what you do. You really just get thrown into this world. So we really don't know what we're doing. It's still a job and career that is so underdeveloped and discussed, because also like people are gatekeepers. They don't want to say, this is how you do this. So like, I think staying true to yourself, it may mean like you might get less likes, but eventually over time, you're just going to be happy and people are going to see happiness radiate from yourself. Love Island was the biggest blow up for me, obviously. I was so praised and I was so loved and I felt special, you know? When in reality, now I'm 32. If I just went back and saved every penny, I could have like 3 houses now. I could have, you know, and actually build an empire for myself. I would say the biggest advice I have for you is, instead of running to the clubs to celebrate, put that in like investment, money, time, and excitement into yourself.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, you feel save and invest some of that money. Because I remember the first year after Love Island, probably got close to maybe 400K.
Yep.
And I was living up to it, and I spent nearly all of it just as fast as I got it.
Welcome, everyone, to the Beyond the Cover podcast. My intent with creating this podcast was to provide a platform where men can speak openly about their journeys with mental health without fear of judgment while doing so. While I, the host, or you, the listener, may not agree with everything or anything that a certain guest says for that matter, my focus is not to decipher what is right or wrong. Rather, it's to gain a better understanding of why somebody thinks and acts the way that they do. And with this understanding, we will begin to make better sense of our own lives and the world around us. So join me as we open the books into these men's journeys and dissect the pages within. Olivia and Theo, welcome to Beyond the Cover.
Hi, thanks for having us.
Pleasure to be here.
Yeah, it's nice to meet you both. This is my first podcast with multiple guests at once. And so this is going to be no rapid fire, but we're just going to let it roll. But I am grateful to have you both here because so far with everyone that I've had on, there's been something different about each person, which makes sense, right? Like everybody is a little bit different in their own ways. What I really am excited to have you guys both on for is you have very unique stories. Again, having both been on reality television, different experiences, but you guys found each other through reality television. And we'll dive into exactly how that occurred. But I really want to start off today. Well, first, so for those that don't know, and many people that follow me are going to probably likely know you guys because reality TV is a small pit. But Olivia, with you first, you were on season 3 of Love Island USA. Okay. Actually, funny enough, that was the first show that ever reached out to me.
Really?
And they didn't go with
season
me.
3?
1 and 2.
Oh.
And they decided not to go with me on either. And I ended up going then on The Bachelorette. So it's just funny that that was the first.
Everything happens for a reason.
Yeah, everything happens for a reason. I think I wouldn't have been able to handle it at the time. I wasn't as like open as I am now.
Yeah.
So because I like watched one episode, and I was like,
it's a lot.
Yeah.
Like no one can prepare you for that.
Yeah. I just saw them like, go right out the gate. They're all doing these activities and they're being, they're kissing and stuff at the time.
Sober too.
Yeah. And I was like, oh, I don't know if I can do this. Like my parents are going to have to watch me, kissing. And the next thing I'm kissing 31
Dad and grandpa both watched. I was like,
yeah.
Okay.
You're like, yeah, this is welcome to reality television, guys. I'm sure you'll watch the next season. But you were also then on 38, 39 and season 40 of the challenge. Okay. So you are 4 now total seasons.
Yep.
Okay. So you are quite the expert.
I've been on reality TV a lot, it seems like. And I just started, I think, almost 3 years ago and already done 4 shows. So
yeah, that's quite a bit.
Definitely, I guess, getting used to it by now.
Yeah, I mean, because you're doing over a show a year.
Yeah.
Which is pretty atypical for most people. I would say that most people go on reality television and then they're off it. And there's the few that stick. And obviously you both are sticking for a reason. Yeah. And so it's cool if you can make that, your life. It's exciting. We only have one life.
I'm lucky. Like you said, it does not happen to everyone. So I'm like, why me?
You're one of the few from Love Island as well who's actually done the challenge, right?
Yeah, Love Island is not really typically invited on the challenge.
Okay.
So somehow I, got on there and I made a name for myself pretty quickly.
Yeah.
And they just keep inviting me back. And some reason, I'm crazy enough to keep going back. So
yeah. Why do you think that is? Because as you all are both dating, why do you think they're bringing her on? This is your
Do
chance.
you know what? Obviously, she was the winner of Love Island, and she was, the kind of the girly girl. But when she turns it on the challenge, I don't know how the opportunity first come about. But after, because there's been a few people from Love Island who's done it, but she's a strong, fiery girl as well.
Yeah,
and she's a great competitor and very overlooked. But I think the producers could see the potential in her, and clearly she's done some damage already. And I think next time if she goes again. She definitely got a win in her as well.
Yeah,
because we've been running together recently, and she's been beating me.
Yeah,
not to say I used to be a lot better. I fell down the scale a little bit, but I think if a girl could beat a guy in any kind of like 5K, has potential.
5K, okay.
Yeah, there's potential.
Yeah, you'll have to come run with us sometime.
I did a 110K, and I said I would never run again because my entire body locked up at the end of it. It was a Lululemon one here in Scottsdale. Yep. And I could not move for like 30 minutes. My whole body cramped. So I would potentially do a 5K. I don't know what you guys are running your pace at though.
I mean,
you'll be fine.
Some of these finals that we have to run
you'll be fine.
Are 50 miles.
Okay.
So 5K is nothing.
Nothing compared to that?
Okay, I think I done the hardest final on the challenge ever. It was 50 miles. Maybe 20 of it was cycling, 30 was running. It was, but I was
did they have you swimming too or no?
Oh yeah.
Wait, they had you do a triathlon?
Yeah, not every time, but they definitely throw swimming in there. Yeah.
Yeah. I do. Done kayaking.
Have you seen it at all?
So I looked at like clips, but I'm not really the most well educated on like reality television, even though I've been on it. Like
I feel like that's actually a lot of us. I don't really watch reality TV either because I'm on it. So I'm like, I don't need to watch extra drama. I have enough in my own life. Yeah. Thank you very much.
No, well, right. It's different from when you like. For me, it was like when I played football. It's like, hey, when I played it versus watching it, it's way different.
Yeah.
And it's interesting that you mentioned the competitor in her because Theo, you were on Love Island season 3 as well, but this is for UK.
Yeah.
So you were on UK, and then you also have been on now 2 the challenges, correct?
4 challenges.
Oh, 4.
And X on the Beach, yeah.
Okay.
X on the Beach. I forgot about that, Jeff.
So X on the okay.
Now at Love Island, 2 challenges.
Okay.
X on the Beach.
Okay.
2 more challenges.
So 6 shows total. Did I count that right?
Yeah.
So y'all are in an upper echelon of like, again, reality TV, because most people might go one and done.
Yeah.
I've done 2 and that was, it's like, boom, okay, that's it, and then you all, though, have been on it quite a bit. Let me ask you this. The first question I want to ask, I'm going to pivot here because I had an original question, but how long do you think you'll keep it up with going on reality television? I mean, is there a end point to it or...
I think most people who do, especially something like the challenge, but my worst show was X on the Beach. Sometimes you finish it, you think, that's it, I'm done. Mm-hmm. And then time goes past, 3 months later, they ring you up, they offer you some money again. And you think, what else have I got on my schedule? I could squeeze it in. I guess I could do another one.
Yeah.
I haven't personally capped it. I just, especially for the challenge, I don't think I'll do many other shows other than a challenge. Mm-hmm. But, I want to win. I want to get a win under my belt first. Then I could look at like, all right, then I've got the win under my belt. Maybe now I could go every
so you want to go out like
every
on a
3
Super
years.
Bowl. You're like, I want to go out on a ring.
Yeah.
Once I get my ring, then I can retire.
I've got a bunch of silvers in my career in athletics and in the challenge, but I need to get at least a gold. Then I can be like, all right, then
there's also different categories for reality TV, right? Like there's dating shows. There's the challenge, which is merging some, partying, some crazy extreme sports, as well as drama, right? And then there is daytime reality TV, which is, like Vanderpump Rules or something. Mm-hmm. So for obviously dating, we're in a relationship, so that's done for us. Even if I was single, I don't think I would ever do a dating show again. Mm-hmm. Or if I did, I would not take it seriously. I would have fun.
Yeah.
That's number one. I think a lot of people go into it either with the mindset of I'm just going to mess around and have fun, or I'm taking it seriously. And then the people that are taking it seriously get mad at the people that are not taking it seriously. And the people that are not taking it seriously, like troll the people that are taking it seriously. So at the end of the day, I want to add this, whatever reality show you do, just be yourself and do whatever you want to do. Mm-hmm. Like always, because that's also going to get you picked up for other shows as well. For me, I've always been myself 100%. And I think that is something that contributes to me continuing reality TV. I think people can smell like just you not being authentic. And for him, he's definitely 100% himself as well. And we've also both in our reality TV career have had really high highs and really low lows. So I think people just like to follow us and support us and just keep watching our story and us evolve as, even just human beings.
Yeah. I mean, you're really putting it out there for everyone to track your life. And I am curious as far as the challenge, how much of that is real? Is there any fabrication to the show itself? Or do they drum again? I think like sometimes there can be involvement, with the producers, or like they set certain things up for the sake of entertainment. Do you feel though that like you mentioned that you can both be authentically yourself? Yeah. Is there any type of theatrics involved? Because I will say there is on The Bachelorette. Yeah. There's theatrics involved. Is it real? Yes. Like I tell people 80% of the time it's real. 20% of the time I might have to fabricate some stuff. Yeah. But I still, at the very end though, it was 100% real. I'm like, I was completely not in the know at that point.
Yeah.
I'd say on the challenge it's more real than it comes across on TV. Okay. Because there's so much. When you do like Love Island and it's every day, when it's aired every day, you could fit way more in. But this is like they do a week episode into like 1 hour or an hour and a half. Mm-hmm. So what happens on the show, like all the kickoffs, all like the drama, the crying, the arguments, and even the love as well. It's not all negative. Then it comes across on TV and everything looks a lot cleaner. Yeah. So I say it's more real, and you don't really get told what to do. Like the only show when I done season 3 back in 2017 for Love Island, they set up scenarios more. Like you should talk to this person, talk to that person. Yeah. But I know for a fact the producers got a lot more involved after my season. Okay. Because the people I spoke to after, they're like, oh, they're way more in your face. They're setting up things. It's a little bit less authentic. Yeah. Same with X on the Beach. I was like, I've never been told what to do ever. Never been like edged one way or another. But on the challenge, you don't really do that. Because it's such a hostile environment in the first place. It was like, we've got so much here. They don't need to do it in the same way or push. Because it's more of an individual. Because people, when you go on Love Island, they kind of pretend that they're not trying to win. Like, I'm not trying to win. I'm just here being myself. Yeah. It doesn't really matter. I'm in love. Yeah. When the challenge, people like, I'll stab you in the back. I'll stab you in the back. I don't like no one here. I'm trying to win. Yeah. So it's a different kind of genre in terms of what you could come across and how much you could be yourself.
Yeah. Also, like, reality TV has just evolved even like month by month, right? Like in the past 5 years, you can see visibly people censor themselves a little bit more just because the cancel culture is insane. Mm-hmm. The challenge has been around for about 40 seasons now, and people have been on reality TV for 30 years. 30 years-ish.
About 22 years.
So they're like the people that started reality TV. We're talking real world. We're talking road rules. We're talking, just the core of what reality TV started like. Mm-hmm. So the challenge, if you watch, you'll notice like it's pretty, what you see is what you get. It's reality TV. Whereas the Love Island is, curated a little bit. They definitely pull you and say, I want to encourage you to chat with Tim because I think that he might like you, knowing damn well Tim does not like you. They're setting it up. Like they literally need entertainment. And I think with the challenge, we don't need to try to be entertaining. It just happens. Yeah. Whereas reality shows, you either cast an amazing star and they just kill it, or the people behind the camera have to push it a little bit to get a storyline.
Right. It's shot in the dark with Love Island because it's only one-time casts. And I don't know what happened. I feel a lot of things change because you don't know who you're getting. Yeah. Some people are amazing at interview and they crumble once the cameras are rolling. Mm-hmm. Some people don't give the best interview and then they really light up when they're getting shown. But the challenge, because you go on a few times, they know what they're getting. So it's like, all right, you get one opportunity, you blew it, but we know how good you are, so you come back again. Yeah, I think one guy's on 22 seasons.
Crazy. You should do it. You should do the challenge. I feel like you would kill it.
Get you on that.
I would love to.
You should.
I would love it because I'm very competitive. And I do think that I wanted to ask you guys, how much of it do you think like natural chaos ensues and you have this fierce competition due to the cash prize? Because the cash prize is pretty lucrative. I mean, to have a $750,000 cash prize at the end of the show, and it airs over, I think you had mentioned before we hopped on here, is it 2 months, the show?
The show it films about 3 months.
8 to 10 weeks.
And
usually.
It airs so long. It's like 8 months of airing once a week.
Oh, I had no idea.
So it's like always on your TV.
And even like the duration, I didn't have any clue that filming for almost 2 to 3 months is typically longer than most shows that I'm used to.
No phones, obviously, you know the drill. Yeah. No phones, no outside contact. We're obviously in extreme conditions, doing things that the typical person would never want to do. Eating, slop, jumping off buildings, carrying the heaviest thing you can even imagine and then walking 10 miles with it. Like, it's insane. Working with partners that you can't stand.
It's often often is way worse than it comes across. So if you're watching it, like I remember I died on this one. I also wet myself at the same time. I've still got the same scar on my shoulder. And then you're watching it, you're like, no, I'm on this episode for 5 seconds. Like I went through death, and you get a little tiny like power. It's so much worse being on it because they break you on that. Yeah. They want to break you on there. They don't care how good it looks with the camera. So I've been in finals where we'd have to climb like waterfalls, get soaked. Doesn't even make air. So sometimes the producers who we know, some of them are ex like Navy SEALs or something. They're like, we just want to we just hate these people.
They make you earn that prize
they make
money.
You earn the money. But when you're watching it, people are like, yeah, I could do that.
Yeah. And it's like, I promise you can't.
No, I mean, the things that you guys are describing, I mean, is not at all what I expected as far as I didn't realize. I know like they have a show, Special Forces, that's become, that's the new thing. And they're like, oh, they're being taken through like Marine style training. But it sounds like
at least you see
I saw a couple episodes of that. I would honestly say the challenge is a million times harder because the Air Force, I think they only film for 2 weeks or a week or two. We're obviously filming for months. I don't know if they can have their phones or not. But they also are just doing a task, and I mean, what they're doing is hard. Don't get me wrong. Yeah. I'm not going to devalue that. But
I feel like you did a little bit of a shout out, a call out here. You're like, hey, let's see if any of y'all the winners, put me on Special Forces. The winners of Special Forces need to go on the challenge. You're saying 100%, see if they can hold their own. 100%.
Do you know?
The thing that breaks you the most is not the challenges. It's the dealing with the people that you're sleeping right next to every night. You know what I mean? It's the drama. It's the chaos. It's the fight for the top. It's
do you know? I'll give you an example of Georgia Harrison, who done a challenge. She won SAS, so SAS Navy SEALs. Yeah, same thing. She done that for 3 weeks, and it's a different type of hard, but the challenge is harder.
She said that.
Yeah, she won. She won that show. Yeah. She passed out after an hour and got stretchered away in the final. So she's like, yeah, SAS was easier because she ran with me for 1 mile in the Sahara Desert.
I'm sure it's obviously hard, but you know, so the challenge is no joke.
Well, yeah, and again, like you guys are doing physical. So are you doing something every day? I mean, do they have an activity every single day?
So no, we have 2 days of the week we have challenges, and then we have 2 days of the week we have eliminations, and then we have usually a day off to recharge. But there's no filming's always happening. But the recharge days, maybe they'll bring a bottle of wine for 20 people to split. It's like not how it was back in the day. Back in the day, people could get wasted. Nowadays, it's all monitored.
Even back when I started, they used to bring out 4 bottles of vodka, and we'd get absolutely plastered really fast. All the drama happened. But now they're like, no vodka, only beer and wine. You're like, it's just Love Island. Like I come in to have a good time.
The Bachelor,
for at least for the first 4 weeks.
Did you drink on The Bachelor?
I'm wondering if they had a situation occur with like whether it was. Do they give you guys, I mean, off-camera time on the show? I mean, can you all hang out? You guys, you mentioned there's hardly off-camera ever.
We do have a day off.
Okay.
The cameras are there, but they're only there if something kicks off.
Okay.
So there'll be like a one-man camera. No, there'll be a 3-person camera crew.
Okay. Just
there, if just in case something does happen.
Yeah, or if the week was hot and like they know these two people are like constantly going at it with each other, they'll just be sitting there hovering just in case like someone's.
But you have a day off,
and they'll let us go crazy sometimes, and like people get really wasted. But the good stuff is just not making air nowadays. Like I feel like for at least our show, The Challenge, they're really just showing the challenges and the eliminations and a couple people, but there's so much that happens behind the scenes. Like I feel like they need like a whole separate like bloopers page or something so we can like see the good stuff.
We always said this. They need a late night YouTube page where they just put out some of the naughty stuff at least.
Well, this is stuff kind of like Big Brother does this, do they not? Where they basically have a camera running 24/7. And so to your point, it's like if they had something running, they could capture a lot of this really great content that's happening that I think also shows outside just the challenges, the dynamic of the house or of the, like I felt that same way. We, on like The Bachelorette, like we would have rap battles or we would like be broing out all the guys. And I'm like, this would be awesome for you all to show these clips in the meantime so people can see the personalities of each of us, right? Yeah. And it became so focused on the dates and going from this date to this date and then group date. And it's like, well, what about the house dynamic, right? Like I think that would be just as interesting.
Yeah.
Dude, I mean, what are your guys' thoughts? I don't, my thought is just that they're a little tone deaf. I'm like, you think that the audience doesn't want to see this, but I feel like they would, but I'm not really certain if that's the answer. What do you...
The comments are full of it. And sometimes there's situations that happen on the show where 2 people are going at each other And it's like, how did they get here? It just goes into it. There was no build up. There was no like backstory. Like these two people are now worst enemies in 5 minutes. You know, and they're like, oh, how did this happen? Yeah. And even like me and her towards the end, you know, she's crying. I'm upset. I'm leaving. And it was like, oh, didn't know the two, it was even together. They've been here for 8 weeks. And luckily, only in our interviews, her talking about me, but it doesn't show, you know, a lot of the stuff that.
Well, they had the ability to, you're saying, to basically follow a relationship that was budding and build it up and have that be a natural, organic part of the show where it's like, hey, this is the challenge where it's a competition-based show, but there's a budding relationship. It could have added an organic element. You're basically telling me that like that wasn't highlighted whatsoever.
And they have the power of foresight because it's all recorded. Then they put it together, so they know all the outcomes for everyone's situations. But not even just for us, but a lot of people they fell out and the whole house dynamic changed and the house gets split into two. Yeah, it's how did we get here? Yeah, sometimes it skips a couple beats. But you know, we were spending a lot of time stressing about on the show, and it's like, you know what, it's not our show. Let's just turn up and compete.
Say, the reality is, unless
this is not our department. As much as things have changed since when I started, you know, I was like, all right, there's nothing to do about it.
We always say that though. Like every single person on our cast is like, why are we not showing what the audience wants to see? And it seems to be just like literally reoccurring with like what you just said. You have heard it as well. Like, why are we not seeing what we know people will eat up? Yeah. And there must be a reason for it because they hear us. They know, you know, we give them advice all the time. We're like, guys, why are we not showing this? And actually, because we were giving them such a hard time when the show was airing, they were putting bonus clips out on their Instagram behind the scenes. Yeah. And people were loving them. Yeah. So I don't know. I think that the direction they must be wanting to go is one way. And I don't know what that is, what the reason is yet. But
well, and I think also too, sometimes I realize there's a lot of people that are screaming very loudly online. But I mean, how many different people is it? Or is it the same, you know, 100 to 200 people? I know this because I felt like the entire world was coming down on me when I was a bachelor and, you know, and I wasn't a very well liked one. But I felt like I had everybody and their mother hate me. Yeah. And then I started blocking people. The second they said anything negative, block. Well, I ended up blocking about 250 people or something like that. But once I did that, all of it went away. And so I felt like the entire world was coming down on me. Like I had millions of haters. And then all of a sudden it was like, wait, I just blocked 250 people and there's no more noise.
Yeah. So there's hundreds of thousands of people who can see, but there's only a couple hundred actually saying something negative. So you think, oh, really? It's always often the case. 99% of people don't mind, don't care, or they do like you. But you know, you get 99 good comments. You get one in there, you think, oh, that's the one that will stick hardest with you often.
Why do you think that is? Because I agree with you. I felt that of the 100 of comments that I would get that were positive, I would look at that negative one and it would almost hold the weight of 50 positive comments. I mean, it sounds like you had something similar. I mean,
yeah. Do you know what? I learned about this before social media. There was something we learned about this in school, and it's like, oh, you could be like an exam or test. You know, you get so many right, but you know the one you get wrong. Same with people's opinions and stuff. There was a reason explained to me many years ago why that is. Because I guess it's like, I think it was something like the kind of what you're supposed to do, you know, you get a pat on the back for anyway. So you're happy with that. But when you get something, when you're doing something, you do it wrong and then you get called out on it. That's the part you'd focus on to change it. Yeah. But you don't need to change something you're doing correctly. Does that make sense? You know what's interesting? It was kind of like along that scale. I can't remember it word for word though.
No, but it makes sense. And I wonder if there's a tie-in to your athletic background because I feel, you know, I played high level ball and I feel like, you know, some stuff I would be expected to do. Like when I graduated college, I didn't even notify my family that I didn't even walk across the stage because I felt like that was the expectation. Like, you know, I'm going to graduate college. And so I just, that I'm like, not a big deal. And I pass it off as nothing. It's like, that's the expectation of me. But then, you know, there's like the second somebody says, you know, oh, he needs to work on this. I'm like that. I make that my priority number one focus. And I don't know if like, do you feel like you approach it similarly where like you feel that like the balance is like a 50, the negative comments hold more weight, or did you?
So with the comments, now I feel totally different than when I first started reality TV and first started getting them. I was lucky enough to leave my first show and be pretty loved. Okay. I rarely saw any bad comments, and if they were almost laughable. They weren't directly attacking me as a human. But then as, you know, the more TV shows you go on, the more sides of yourself people are going to see. And then I went on another show was absolutely adored, loved. Went on the next season, made a mistake, hated by the entire world. Literally hated, like death threats. And that was the first time I experienced it. And I was lucky enough to already kind of slowly, I guess, have a taste of that with the first season I ever did and the second season I've ever did. So it never really touched me, but it is frustrating to feel like you're misunderstood, you know, especially when you always are leading with the best intentions you know how. It's frustrating because you're like, wait, that's not how I am. But like when you accept that you have nothing to prove to anyone but yourself and the people that you love, like it really does roll off your back.
Yeah.
I think.
Absolutely. Yeah. I was a people pleaser for most of my life. And so going on reality television, that was not a great combination to walk into because I could not please everybody. It's physically impossible to be loved by every single person. And one thing that I found was interesting was I had a lot of things said to me that were negative, and I could brush off a lot of them because I thought they were ridiculous. But it was when people called me boring that bothered me the most. Not ugly, not stupid, not he's not deserving of love, whatever. All that stuff I brushed off. I was like, that's
one of the worst burns I hear as well.
But boring.
I'm like,
but boring. Excuse me.
That one got me.
I'm anything but boring.
And it bothered me.
The producers up, like, look what you've done.
Yeah, please put this clip in right now. This is my most exciting moment. Like, switch this narrative. I don't care if you make me look stupid. Make me look ugly. I don't care. But like, don't make me look boring. And that was one of my biggest concerns. But this was why. It's because of all the other things, I didn't believe them, but I did believe that I was boring. So going on reality television, I kept very close, everything close to the vest. I came from medical sales, and I was trying to uphold this professional image. And so when I walked on the show, there was guys walking in screaming stuff and dressed a certain way and doing all these crazy chaotic things. And I wasn't. And so very quickly I realized the reason why this bothers me so much, what people say, is because I believe this to be true. Was there anything that you all saw online that really stuck out to you that bothered you because you believed it to be true, or?
Well, I will say, just piggybacking off of that, I think I've realized recently that being called boring is also not, I feel like, an insult. I think we're in an industry of like, look at me kind of people, and a lot of narcissistic behavior from people, a lot of look at me, I'm the star, and people that just want attention. And I think being boring, I don't think it means what people think it means. It doesn't mean you're like a loser or have no personality. It just means, look, I'm content. This is me. I'm sitting in my peace because I'm cool and I don't need to try to be hard. I'm not a try hard. And if you don't accept me, cool, it's your loss. Like, so I think I initially, if I ever got one, I never really got the boring comment, to be honest, but I got more of like a bad friend, which was like, wow, because everyone in my life that knows me knows that I try to be the most giving, understanding, like, person ever. And so when I was called a bad friend or a snake, because that's what I was getting called online when I made this move in a game that I made. And I think that people forget that although it is real, it is a game as well. And you also are going through a absolute can I cuss here? Mind fuck, because you're stuck in a house basically in quarantine with the same people. You're getting told like things by certain people. You're not sure if people are lying to you. Your brain is not focused and normal. So by one mistake, being called America's sweetheart to I'm the biggest backstabbing snake ever, I was like, whoa, like that's when I realized I never again will listen to the love or the hate, because both of it is irrelevant to me.
And they're both fickle.
Exactly.
You can, off of one single action, can completely be flipped.
I've been way more protective.
Your school friend as well. If you've been through life and death together for the last 10 years, like, all right, you're my. I call everyone my colleagues now. I go, no one from TV is my friend. I got one friend from reality TV, I'd say. Other than that, everyone is people I work with. They're people I like, people I respect and stuff, and maybe vice versa. But to go out there and say no, they're my best friends, and it's like I was like, do you know what? Because I have made sacrifices on the show for my friends, should I say, and not done what is right for me. So it was like, because I like this person and I'm in bad shape and they're in great shape. I don't want to go against them because I like them. And it's like, all right, now what I'm doing, I'm on this show, especially the challenge for the money. It's like now I'm sacrificing my own money, my own future because I like someone. When it's like we're all competitors. It's like when I done athletics, You know, I could be lying. I train with my training partners every 6 days a week. You know, for years and years, But when we get on the track, you know, your much is my enemy. There's a person I don't know.
Right.
And now I'm here to beat you. Yeah. And I kind of like got a bit soft with it, and I was like, because I like you. You know, I want to see the good runner in the final. So
what are you saying? You're gonna go against me?
You're not my competition.
Yeah, so that one friend. Yeah.
So that one friend. What are we talking about?
Well, you're my girlfriend, not my friend. Like, that's like. But you know, if there's $1 million on the line, and you could be cut off, I'm going to share it with you anyway.
So it can get down to the final 2, correct?
It goes down to like the final 8 that run a final. And then like the 2 winners, a guy and a girl usually.
Yeah, okay, so we'll
never be against each other.
You can't go head to head.
No, so if anything, I would be like, trip everyone else, let me run ahead.
Okay, because I was gonna ask if we ever got to a place of having you guys go 1-on-1 and it came down to the final.
They do. No, they actually have had that. They have had that.
My first season was that. It was boys and girls.
My last season was that.
It was top 3, doesn't matter, boy or girl.
So let's say they call y'all back for another one, and you guys get down to the final 2. It's you two going against each other. How's that play out? Are you just said, I mean, that you're basically, you see everyone as your competitor.
I'm not going to let her win.
So you're
I'll say best person wins. Off you go, trip her up and run off.
Now listen, I would have no problem with that if it was me and him at the end. I'd be like, don't take it too personally when I kick your ass.
Okay, so there'd be healthy competition.
Tough. Yeah. Plus, I mean, if we did, it's our money. Like, it'd be our money anyways. Like, it's not, at that point, it's not about the money. It's more for me about, you know, my ego and getting that title and, you know.
I mean, it's very rare that I don't think there's ever been just a 2 people thing. That's a very, very long shot scenario. But if it was the case, then yeah. But I'd be happy. I'd be happy if she did beat me. Well, I can't believe that's happened. And I'd obviously be depressed for a year. And I said, a girl, not my girlfriend beat me, but a girl beat me. I mean, my ex already beat me in 2 seasons ago. So I'm like, all right, I let that one slide.
So you've let that. So now you feel like the recovery period, you'll be depressed for less as long, potentially. And she can basically just make you feel better with the winnings of the, you know, she wins and then she consoles you and takes you on a nice trip or something. A
little G-Wagon or something.
Gets you a G-Wagon.
But that is interesting that you said that. The friends thing, meeting people on reality TV, I think is tricky sometimes as well. Like for me, I'm actually not friends with anyone from Love Island really. I'm actually friends with people that were not on my season. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So because the producers cast people that are for the most part different. Yeah. Some of us are not meant to click. And I think at first I was finding myself trying to fit in with certain people's lifestyles and personalities when a lot of the time in the back of my head would be like, ooh, I don't resonate with that, or I don't really like that. And I think being confident enough now to know like, I like that person, but they're just not for me. Yeah. And being okay with that. Yeah. And not pleasing the fans because our friendship's upholding, you know?
Yeah, and you make a good point. I mean, like pleasing the fans, and they want to see people from the same season be buddy. Of
course.
And I felt that pressure when I came off Bachelorette, that like I need to stay in touch with all these guys. And then the times when they would hang out and I wasn't there because they were all in LA and I stayed here in Scottsdale. I mean, I felt the FOMO, and everyone's like, oh, it's so great to see all them together. And then they'd start saying, well, obviously they're not friends with Clayton because he's 100%. Never there. And so then I'm like, that's not true, because there's a lot of things that people say online that are completely untrue. That and so on that topic, I guess I'm curious, what do you guys think? What do you think is the dumbest thing that people say that needs to be corrected, that you hear from people online, that it's a misconception? It's like, that is so far from the truth. You say it, you have no idea.
About us personally, or just about reality TV people in general? That they know anything, honestly. Like, you guys really know what you're getting fed. There's obviously truth to you're seeing people talk, you're seeing conversations. It's obviously parts of it are true. But how did you get there? Where did you go from there? Like, you have to remember it is for entertainment purposes. And sometimes you get unlucky and a producer or someone doesn't like you that much. You're not going to be the beloved person that maybe you are back at home. So I think going into it, just if you're going on reality TV, buckle up, because it is not for the weak. It's hard.
And you know what as well? Like, it's different. It's different now. I say the challenge separate. Talking about Love Island, like they, especially back in 2017, in terms of mental health, in terms of what's going to come on after. Because I think my Love Island season 3 was like the first one that really, really blew up. And I didn't want to go on at first. I never watched it. Didn't know what it was. I was doing athletics. I was happy running in circles on the track. You know, my life was simple. And they were like, come on the show. So I said no multiple times, even when it was airing, I started watching it.
Yeah.
And they're like, it's going to be the best thing in the world. There's no negative sides that come for it. There's 2 other people who've done it the season 4. They're now millionaires. Like, you could become a millionaire as well just by coming on the show. I'm like, how? I was like, you're only giving me $200 a week. Where's this million coming from? Like, oh, after you come off, you do PAs. I'm also PA, like club appearances, Instagram. And I was like, eventually I didn't qualify for the athletics competition I needed to do because I got injured. Then I went on the show, and it was great. It was all amazing. I set the bar really low because I was a very jokey person on there. I was just like the Joker, wild card. Not the villain, but just kind of the funny person on there. Yeah. So I didn't get hardly any hate at all from anyone. So I think someone called me a prick like twice. That was about it. So everything was right, and it was like that. Everything was positive, but they didn't talk about the negative side of it, which is kind of after. And me and a few of the people from my season and seasons before, we call it like the darkness, because the highest highs often have the lowest lows. And I think for my season, I don't know if you know, for my season, one boy took his life. So did my host as well. Because it was overnight. I was only on there for like 2 weeks, going from like 2,000 followers to like nearly 400,000 followers. A lot of people went from 2,000 to 3.5 million. So that overnight, success, if you want to call it that, is a lot. But then it was never really the comments in terms of like what the fans said. It was never really negative like that for a lot of us on there. It was more like the up and down. And like I'd say it would be like having everything given to you, and a lot of people were hanging on to it. I go, every week is a bonus. Every Instagram deal, every flipping 10 grand I got given for absolutely nothing was a bonus. I was waiting for it to run out. And then it took like over maybe like year and a half. Then it was like, all right, now. Then it was like, now what? Yeah. Because this wave we was riding, and that's when R.I.P. Mike, who took his life, and he was like a Greek god. He's like 6'4", tanned. Everyone loved him. So no one ever expected him to do that. And then a year later, the host, she took her life as well. And there was there's 3 people from the UK who done it, and everyone was so confused. And everyone did think it was because of the fans and how it was so great, and it was like negative comments. But it wasn't. I don't think it was just that. It was for the host, because she took a lot of heat because she got herself in some trouble with her boyfriend. But I think it was just more the up and down experience from it going up and then going down, and it's like, all right, now you're back alone again. Yeah. The producers didn't care about mental health. There was because now after that it was like, all right, everyone gets therapy after you do the show. Everybody, you're offered it. You got to do like a psych test before the show. Yeah. Back then it was like, go on, have fun, and then you go off and you're just by yourself. You get a manager. But now there's like, you get access to like therapy. You get access to like, but people are more aware of it now. Back then, it was just like brand new. Now people go on like, if I go on Love Island, that could really help my career. Yeah. I think a bunch of us went on back in the day, not really knowing we're going to find love. And I was never naive to it to be like, I'm going to find love on a TV show. That's stupid. But the up and down.
You're telling me you didn't know what you signed up for, essentially at the very beginning.
No, you
didn't have a clue. And not
like now. Not like people now. If you go on Love Island, you get 1 million followers. Back then, I was like, oh my God, I've got 10,000. Yeah. I'm so happy. Yeah. I'm like, hang on, you got 4 million. Why have I got? Okay. Then it climbs and climbs. No, I show for love though,
Yeah. And again, like you mentioned a couple of good points there that I think I can also attest to. There's like this dopamine depletion. So I would say that like there's nothing really as thrill seeking. I mean, when I played football, high level, like that was thrill seeking, to run out in front of 100,000 people with cameras flying overhead, millions of people watching on TV. After that point, I was chasing, dopamine highs. Then I worked in the OR and I was watching surgeries, and like, this life or death scenario playing out. It was like, it was thrill seeking in a way, and we're saving people. And, something wasn't always that intense, but, then like the show comes around and I'm like, oh my gosh, now I'm traveling the world and I'm known by millions of people, and I get to do all these crazy things and go to all these incredible places across the world. I never really traveled prior. So now I'm going and checking out all these new cultures, and I'm getting VIP access backstage everywhere. And then all of a sudden it's like the fall off, the come down. And it's like this dopamine depletion. I'm like, you're so used to vibrating up here at this frequency. And all of a sudden it's like the red carpet gets stripped out from under you. And you mentioned like, well, you don't know if it's one more deal or whatever. And so you're kind of like, okay, I expect this to fall off, but then it kind of stays longer than you think. Like my brand deals were lasting longer than I thought. And then all of a sudden, just one day they stopped. And I'm like, thankfully I had a backup plan, but I know there's so many people that don't. And so all of a sudden now they're like, wait, no one wants to take me to the clubs. I'm not getting the experiences. I'm not getting asked to go on trips. I'm not getting paid for brand deals. And I don't have a backup plan.
Yeah. It's almost like you feel 100%. Like your worth is like dwindled.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. You feel like your worth's gone down, or you feel like you made a mistake, or what you do wrong, or. Yeah, but luckily, like I said, luckily for us, you know, it's never straight up like that. It's gone up and down. But some people, they do the one. And that's what I mean. They do the one show. They don't get to do nothing else again. They completely run dry. They get confused.
Do you think do you think it has to do with comparison? I mean, that being like saying like, hey, so and so had 3 million followers. What did I do wrong? 100%. Yeah. Because I'll admit that straight up. Like I know how many followers I have. I also know how many followers all the other bachelors have had since me. You know, I've been and I've seen that, and it's hard sometimes because I'll be like, you're not that person, and like that, like their season was the way it was, and they were edited. You know the power of edits. You also like, does that mean that because they have 3 times the followers that like they're 3 times as great as me? And you know, when I lacked self-love and self-confidence and was a people pleaser, I was like, yeah, that's a better person. Now I have that self-love, and I'm like, no, they're not 3 times better than me. Like they could be worse for all I know. It's like it means nothing, but I think comparison can get in the way.
There's a lot of factors to it. It's also like, you know, when is your season airing? What time of year? Like, what kind of girls are on there? Is there a spicy girl that's like getting views for that season? You know, there's so many factors in it. It's never just that one person's God, you know, and then everyone else is like not worth anything. I think that you have to just keep your blinders on and focus on yourself, really. And for anyone that is getting into reality TV, I would say the biggest advice I have for you is take that excitement and energy, instead of running to the clubs to celebrate, put that in like investment, money, time, and excitement into yourself. Because literally I wasted probably a year after Love Island at the clubs partying, you know, with people that I thought were like amazing. And you know, some of them actually I did become genuine friends with, but I hear their struggles as well, and they're the same as mine. And I'm like, wow, like I thought after Love Island, you know, Love Island was the biggest blow up for me, obviously, and I won. I was so praised and I was so loved, and I felt special, you know, and especially hanging out with people that I idolized at a younger age. I was like, oh my gosh, like I'm in the cool kid crew. And now I'm like, wait, I don't remember those nights. You know, the hangovers, God knows I was struggling for days. Money wasted, because even though I got a lot of free things, you obviously are keeping up with the Joneses. I was buying purses, I was doing this and just spending money that I didn't need to spend. When in reality, now I'm 32. If I just went back and saved every penny, I could have like 3 houses now. I could have, you know, and actually build an empire for myself, which if you do reality TV, invest in yourself. You can have fun from time to time, but invest in yourself.
Save and invest some of that money. Because the first year after Love Island, probably got close to maybe 400K. And I was living up to it, and I spent nearly all of it just as fast as I got it. And then looking back, I was like, well, even now, I'm like, oh my God. Luckily, I had a plan and stuff. So, but money wise, I thought if I just done that one show and I just rose and fell, and I just wasted 400 grand, having a good time, buying clothes, hotels, everything that's, you can never get your money. You can't start. I was buying things I could sell on again. I was like, thank God, you know. But it's always good to do it at the time. But you done 1 year, I done 2 years. 2 years partying. Even after I'd done my first challenge as well, I was riding the wave was still there. I was like, all right, stop messing about now, because you get to the point sometimes you're in a club or something, or you're somewhere on a holiday, and you look at someone, you think, how do they do it? Because I'm done. I've done this for a year straight now, because I didn't party much before because I was an athlete. I'm already blown out. I'm only 27. And I'm only partying for a year, and I'm like, I can't keep doing this.
I also think, like, I don't know how you feel about this, but like I recently have just really started to put my blinders on and really focus on me 100% and like what I actually enjoy in life. And I was like recently scrolling through Instagram and stuff, and like, don't get me wrong, like I love posting like a baddie picture, but the reality is like that's really not me. I'm not really someone that has a stone face and tries to look like a sexy model. Like I actually like to smile, and I feel like I was dolling my personality down to show people what they wanted to see and get the likes in the comments. And that was genuinely like making me feel empty inside, and I was losing myself because I didn't even know who I was anymore. I was like, wait, I look exactly the same as this person, but I'm still actually not getting as much love as them, but I'm not being myself. And so like, I think staying true to yourself, it's hard because we're always evolving, right? We're always growing. So we're still like learning who we are minute by minute, but be as just uniquely yourself as you can. And it may mean like, you might get less likes, but eventually over time, you're just going to be happy and people are going to see happiness radiate from yourself.
Yeah, but babe, when you compare yourself to Megan Fox, it's always going to be a hard day.
Oh my God. He trolls me all the time. We had these fans come up to us in Vegas and he's like, oh, she loves it. She loves the attention. She loves when people recognize her more than me. I was like, you're so embarrassing. No, I don't.
Well, that's, I mean, you guys, I mean, again, that's probably just the competitive nature and just having fun.
Oh, like he loves to troll.
That's definitely an athlete thing too. Like
everyone was calling you Megan Fox the other day. What do you mean? I saw what you was on about.
Yeah, well.
There you go. Hey, biggest hype man right there. No,
yeah.
I mean, again, it's yeah. And I love what you said about authenticity. I mean, people can tell, and you can tell obviously when you're not being authentic. I felt this way. Like I'm a goofy dude. I'm not,
yeah.
I think I have, I would say, there's some guys that are posing, they're posing in their underwear. Like these guys I was on the show with, and I'm like, could I pose in my underwear? Yes. Like, but it wouldn't feel authentic to me or my audience. First off, my audience would be like, whoa, this dude, like big, goofy, cheesy, like smile, like making a fool of himself on the dance floor, all of a sudden hits us with some like underwear pic. They'd be like, I don't know how to feel about this. Like this guy just went from being innocent to like real dirty, real quick. Yeah. And I think it goes both ways. Like there was a part of me that felt like, well, I can do that. I can mean mug the camera. I can do that soft smile like that. That look, give them that look. But I was like, but that's not me. And so I've come recently to the place where I was like, I'll never be that. I don't, and I have, I don't have to have like this, I don't have to be known as the guy that has the sex appeal. That's like, they're going around like, no, I'm the goofy dude. Like that's me. Like that's the way, how I feel best. There was a point where, I wasn't posting dance videos and I was posting things for the audience and I was doing, these videos, it was like voiceovers and stuff. And like, it would get a ton of traction. It was when I was dating my ex. But I wasn't happy. I didn't like it. Like, and she knew it. And she knew that I was like, I can't keep doing this. Like now I would do it because now I'm like, well, it's harmless. But at the time I felt like I had to keep up with the trends. And I was like, I don't care about these trends. I don't care about the lip syncing and all that. Like none of that matters to me. But yet, I would post that and I would get, 50,000 likes. And millions of views, and then I would post something mental health focused, and I would get 30,000 views, and it would be like 150 likes or whatever. Yeah. And so I started getting less views because the algorithm's like, oh, like well, if you keep posting this and no one likes it, we're gonna basically shadow ban your account or just block it. And so I was like, now I have to like keep this up. I have to post these things, and it was terrible. Like I was never unhappier than in that moment.
I think chasing success never works. Or like chasing the wrong way to success never works. Yeah. There really is no quick way. So there's maybe one or two people that really make it and will have a career out of it forever, right? Yeah. Yeah. But I think just being yourself, it's gonna like you have now probably an audience that really is like dedicated to what you're talking about now. Whereas people before were probably flaky. They're like, oh, we like this one video, like, and then they're not gonna like search your name again. But like if you're posting something that's going to like impact someone's life, they're gonna be like, oh wait, I need to see what the next episode is. Yeah, so I am personally a fan of having a smaller group, whether it's my friends that are a smaller group or my fans that's a smaller group that really ride with me. I prefer that over likes. And honestly, the more that I stopped chasing brand deals and money, that was also like, came and went before I knew it, the happier I became. Because now I don't care how many likes I get. I don't care how many views I get really. Like, it doesn't do anything for me. It's not paying my bills. So I'm like, this is me, Yeah.
And it's cool to see that evolution. I feel like I was in a similar boat where I'm now, I'm like, I don't care. The likes are what they are. Yeah. It doesn't change, what I'm saying. It's no less important or no more important if it gets 100,000, likes. I mean, I've seen the most ridiculous posts get 100,000 likes. And it's like, that doesn't mean that that's that much better. They're just they're the in group or the in person right now. They're the flashy item. And again, like some of the stuff I posted was so bad. Some of my early videos on influencing was terrible. I keep it up because I think it's hilarious. And I think it's funny to go back and look at it and be like, this was such a poorly done video, but it got more likes than my new stuff because I was just the shiny object at the time.
No one prepares you how to act when you're on reality TV. Like no one's like, okay, your first brand deal, this is what you do. You really just get thrown into this world. Yeah. Everyone's like, oh, your management this, your management that. It's like, I literally did not have a manager for like months. I was doing everything myself. Number one, because I didn't want to pay 20%. And number two, I didn't also know like, what manager to go with or this or that. I was getting, DMs and emails from people that were managers that maybe just knew a connection to one company. You know what I mean? So we really don't know what we're doing. It's still a job and career that is so like underdeveloped and discussed, because also like people are gatekeepers. They don't want to share their managers. They don't want to say, this is how you do this. Me, I will share everything. I'm such a believer in when you share, advice with anyone, it's going to come back to you. So, I mean,
most managers are pretty slimy as well.
Yeah.
Especially back home, 90% of them I've come across. I'm like, you know what? Because I don't blame them, but they put themselves first. They try and get flipping 20 people from the show. They send out a bulk message, and then they pick. They don't. I found they don't really. They're not really trying to push you out as an individual. Yeah, when you have a bigger management. I switched not so long ago, so I was like, you know what? You have 70 people now. Like, and I was one of the first with him. I'm like, yeah, it was fun at first, and I thought, it's not right anymore. And I found like that's 90%. And it's probably what you have here as well. Some of the best things you could get is when you do it yourself. When you start leaning on other managements and stuff, and that's your life flipping. I don't know, some A-list actor or something where you could just lean on, have really good management. But
it's also we have to like remember like we're amazing, but also we are just reality stars. We're not like professional actors over here. So I see some reality stars being like, oh yeah, contact my manager. It's like, babe, calm down. Like, you're fine.
Oh man, I got tons of opinion. I've seen so many people and I'm hypersensitive to it, but I think the same thing. I'm like, everyone's like, I couldn't do what you did. I'm like, you could. It doesn't require, you couldn't play NFL football and I briefly did, so I couldn't even do that. But I played high level, D1, and it was like, you couldn't do that. No, you're right. But you could, more than likely do reality television. We're not special. We're just the ones that are crazy enough to do it. Yeah. Like, I think that's what it was. Like, we decided to take that risk, but it's not like you have to be some absolute physical specimen. Some of the shows, I guess, it sounds like you have to be for the challenge. You might have to be a physical specimen, but not on the Bachelorette.
You know why I thought that was so unfair? So this was the thing that annoyed me about the world, about society, about everything. I done athletics for 10 years, worked my ass off, dedicated my life, 5-6 hours a day. I didn't have hardly any money because I was dedicated to the cause. Then I went on Love Island for 2 weeks, and then I'd done my first club appearance, 500 people screaming. I felt like Drake. I was like, I just went on holiday. That's what I did. I went on holiday with cameras around. That was it. It was just a holiday. I didn't do anything special apart from just have a laugh and be myself. Yeah. Easiest thing ever in the world. And I'm like, this is so unfair because I'm getting all this like flipping attention and love now when it's like I didn't do nothing. But when there's athletes, not just me, but there's athletes dedicated themselves, to many different sports and many different causes in the world. Even like could be working purposes, like doctors or whatever. Yeah. I was like, these people dedicate their lives and you never get any recognition. I was like, you're doing a TV show, which required, for me, zero effort at all, apart from just having a laugh. And he gets 500 people like, yes, that's it. I'm like, life is so backwards.
Some people do make an impact though, I do think. Like some people really do. Like I've had people come up to me and like cry because they were like, you helped me so much, like feel like I wasn't alone, and I feel like less misunderstood because of watching you on TV. And, so there are parts I think that people really take in and like appreciate. But, if you are like the class clown of the, and you're not really taking a show seriously.
Yeah, I do think it is backwards. I mean, I've had a
very special. You're inspirational.
Inspirational, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Oh, okay.
I think so special, but
both.
Yeah. Well, that's good. I mean, I think it's interesting.
He went in there trying to break couples up. Okay, let's keep it.
Oh, he had a little dark side to it.
Only one couple.
Okay, were you successful?
Yeah.
Oh, so you're the competitor.
It was never meant to be. They both said they hate each other anyway.
So have they thanked you since then?
One of them did. The girl did. Years later.
Okay.
I was right. Remember? She's like, I know. I was like, yeah, well.
Okay, so so maybe they should maybe they should bring you both in to create drama in a dating show where you guys go in together, but you just start sabotaging all the connections.
Oh my gosh,
that'd be a great TV show.
That would be scary.
Yeah, just like set y'all up like you guys are like the moles. And it's like go in there and like act like you. Yeah. I mean, now everyone knows that you guys are dating, but you could like go in there and just start picking apart people. Be like, I heard that so and so said that you kind of have a bad smell to you, and just like start planting seeds and just see if you.
That would be his dream.
Yeah,
that would be his dream, and I would be like chasing him like, stop. you're making a mess.
Yeah. Okay, well, maybe
if anyone knows anyone who can set it up.
Somebody that's going to watch this is going to have some type of, okay, he just sprouted some $1 million idea, or maybe it's a bust, but who knows? There's no in between with reality television. But it is interesting where it's like, I mean, you say, again, it can be backwards. And I've had that moment, those moments where, again, I say it's just my ego, where I'm like, how is that person blowing? It's so dumb. Like they're blowing up over something so ridiculous. And then it's hard to adjust. And that's where I think you just step back and say like, hey, like the value that I attribute to this is much different than what others do. And so there's maybe a disconnect with the audience versus what you see. But I think that's where you just say like, hey, like, again, this has nothing to do with like me and my value. It is what it is. If this person blows up and this gets this million, followers for like what they do, then so be it. I mean,
timing comes down to timing. I found a lot of this is timing. If you do season 1 where it's new compared to when you walk in prime time season 5.
Like this season of Love Island blew up. Have you heard of the season of Love Island?
This one actually I was I did.
So it blew up, and everyone deserves the success that they've had on it. It's not that much different than every other season. It's just like there's different networks, there's different casts. The girls killing it. So
I heard that if maybe you know more than me, but I heard that it blew up because like there was a girl in particular that basically was just like chaotic, but like didn't try to hide it. Like, because you made a point, and I've experienced this myself, where people like get in front, like a camera gets in front of them, and they're like, and the camera goes away, and they start saying stuff. It's like, you should have said that while the camera was rolling. Like, don't be hiding stuff. And like, well, no, I got to be presented a certain way on camera. Yeah. And my understanding is like this. There's one girl in particular that on Love Island that blew up because like she was just unapologetically herself, or she decided just to be like, hey, I'm gonna be like chaotic. I'm going to be like crying, hysterical, like calling people out. And then I think I saw that people online were like, that's how I would, like, she was basically speaking for
real emotions of what people would feel back at home.
Yes.
Yeah, 100%.
That's why people were able to connect with her. And that's why they're like, we love the fact that like, I honestly, if I was in that situation, I probably would have done it too. And so like, that's why I think she did so well, apparently.
Yeah, that's 100% facts. It's just like I think it's like you said, it's like timing, you did that one conversation that made everything snowball. So, and something that made me look in the mirror, I think reality TV catapults you to self-growth and self-love very fast. You're either going to get consumed by it and drown, or you're going to better yourself. And for me, I've always been someone that wants people to do good, but like I did catch myself. Why does this person have more followers than me? I know that I'm better than them, but it's like, who am I to say I'm better than them? Like, what? So it's just, you have to, I've humbled myself so much, and I truly want nothing but success for everyone because, like I said, I know at the end of the day, it's going to come back on me. And also, why am I going to waste any energy at all trying to mentally hold someone back? No, like focus on yourself.
Yeah. Stay in your own lane. And just be authentically you, and whatever is meant to come your way will.
Yep, 100%.
And I think it's, again, that those mindsets that you both possess, it's no surprise that you are now becoming one of the, repeat customers or like reality TV goers, because it's like, hey, and I thought that was interesting too, where it's like, I was authentically myself, but I was reserved when I first went on the show. I wasn't trying to become famous. I went there and I felt overwhelmed, but I was never chasing the role, pining for the role of The Bachelor. And there were a lot of men, there was a few men there that definitely were. And some were like, yeah, sure, I'd be it. And I was like, I'm not even thinking about that. And I ended up getting the role. And it's like, again, I think it was because I finally opened up at the end of the show and I was authentically me. And I genuinely was just presenting myself as I was. And that was picked up. And so I'm like, I think ultimately that authenticity is rewarded in a way. I do want to switch over and ask you guys the question that I'm curious about, because I've experienced it a little bit. Dating in the public eye. What's your viewpoint on it overall? I mean, do you like people being in your guys' business? Do your fans respect it, or do they get, when are you guys going to get married? When are you going to have kids? I mean, do you get that kind of level of comment? Do you care if you get those comments? I mean, how is it?
I think for us at the moment, because I live in the UK and she lives here, whenever we don't post each other for about a few weeks, they think we've broken up anyway. So every time we post each other, like, oh, you guys are still together. This is a bit more of a unique experience. I've only had one other relationship with someone who's done TV. But no, I thought it was great. It wasn't. I think being from Love Island, the bar and expectations are set so low, because
the bar is in hell.
Yeah,
okay. You only can go up from there.
Yeah, the bar is so low, especially like for the fans, like whatever it's called. It's like Love Island couples have like a 99% chance of failure. So
I think every reality TV couple does.
I don't think anyone really holds their breath in terms of like, oh, they broke up. They're like, oh, well, how long did you have? 6 months? Oh, I had 8 months. Could pay more money. Like, I don't think the bar is set very high.
Yeah.
So and like, it's kind of a bone. Like, I haven't gone out of a girl from my show. Obviously, she's not from my show. Is it kind of like we've kind of crossed paths? A lot of things in common. We both in the season 3. We both met on the 3rd season of our challenge, kind of. But I don't really know. I don't really hear much. It's not really. It's not what it used to be. Mm-hmm. Especially if you come off a show together like Love Island, then obviously then you have all the people who are rooting for you on there and voted for you. Then it's a bit more pressure. But I think from coming from my own path and her own path and meeting up.
We also have different like stories. Like he was on Love Island in 2018. 17. It's a long time ago, you know. I've had 4 shows crammed into the past 3 years. Yeah. So it's been a lot for me. I think the girls always do get it worse. For the most part. I mean, I feel like
how so?
Like dating in the public eye there's good and bad to it. So the good is people do love a love story, you know, and the people that support us do support us hard. And I've dated 2 other people in the public eye. And one I won the show with, Love Island, and then another one I dated from the challenge as well. Mm-hmm. And so like people either praise you or they try to get in the middle of it. And they have rumors come out, or there's girls DMing you saying that this is happening, or there's messages, you know, floating around from fake accounts about, oh, like Olivia's doing this. And at some point it's like, okay, it's all noise, but it's like, what do you believe and what do you not? And how the trust you have to have for your partner is insane. Mm-hmm. Like, you know, and also we both, technically this is part of our career. I have to be a businesswoman and a boss in my own right, while he does as well. But he has to respect me as a colleague, but also respect me as his girlfriend. And I want to be in my feminine, but I also have to be in my masculine a lot of the time. So it's really hard to balance that. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's something that's relatively new to me. I've gotten big into, mental health and mindfulness and the masculine and feminine energy. Mm-hmm. I never even had a feminine side. Like I grew up playing football. It was basically if you have anger or if you're sad, go hit somebody, or like go lift weights, or go, you know, take it out through yelling. And so, you know, it's a balance, and it's been interesting because I think now you're seeing that like men are being encouraged to show emotion, and like not. Maybe like there's also the balance, right? There's the balance, because I went into overdrive and I told everybody I was sharing everything about my progression, and I don't necessarily regret it. But I did find out that like some women want, you know, a man that's going to also be there as a protector at points, and wants there to be that sense of stability. And if I'm always struggling and always emotional and always sharing what I'm dealing with, it's like, you know, it's a sign of instability. And I think, you 100%. know, a woman sees that and is like, you can have these issues, but like if you're having them every day, how am I supposed to be able to count on you to provide, how to be there for me when I need that?
Yeah, because also we're not going to heal overnight or even in a month or 2. So it's like, how long are you going to talk about those issues? They're probably going to be with you forever. That's the reality. Yeah. And you just use tools to work on them. So of course there's moments where you want to share, but then it's so true what you just said. Like I, as a woman, want to know that my man at the end of the day, even if he's falling apart, has my family, you know? And of course there's going to be times behind closed doors where I'll like hold his head up. Yeah. But I'm old fashioned in certain ways, where I typically, yes, I like to be bossy and stuff, but I do want to feel like I'm like the feminine one in the relationship. And I want to feel like I have a protector and someone that I can trust and feel safe with. Yeah. You know? Yeah.
And so it sounds like, I mean, you obviously like are open to him being emotional, but there's just you want to still have him be able to handle his own at points too. Yeah. Not become like his you know, caregiver or caretaker.
Yes. And I think that's also like, I don't know who teaches this, or I don't even know how you like deciphered this one day, but like you said, it's like an all or nothing thing. I feel like guys like tap into this. Oh, I can be emotional. Oh, I feel so free doing it. And it does feel free. But then there's also the side of guys that are like locking everything in a vault and never will talk about it. It's like, how do you learn that balance? I don't know the answer, but
I kind of figured I learned that unless she has the answers for me, which I found not just her or a girl, unless she knows how to fix my problems and I know what my problems are, then usually I wouldn't even, you know, let her know about it. I think because even though I don't think it's right or wrong. It was like, and sometimes we think it's a burden telling other people what our problems are. But I kind of learned, I was like, unless she can help me fix my problems, it then sound more like, depending on what the situation, everything's kind of unique. I'm like, can she help me with my problems? No, these problems are my problems. Does she have advice for me? And sometimes you might share, and sometimes you might see, and they kind of like half get it, or they might not get it. And you think, all right, then this is something I need to figure out. But it's a lot of like man stuff as well, like I'm sure we all have the same worries, like, am I going to be good enough to take care of myself, her, and a whole family and a house and a business? Yeah. And I was like, oh, what parts of that can she help me with? It's like, not this part, not this part, not this part. Maybe this part.
And we've talked about that too before.
Yeah.
Like, he's pretty open and honest about it. And I like that. I like that you're honest about those things. But he comes at it with a way of not complaining about it. He just shares his fears, and then we go from there. It's not like he's like, oh my God, I can't do anything. It's like, he's like, this is where I'm feeling like stuck. And like, how do we get over that?
Yeah. Yeah. I think it's that masculine energy. It's still having that sense of power over the circumstance at hand. Yeah, I would like to be in a better spot, but I'm not going to sit here and dwell on it and have you console me and be like, I don't know if I can do this. Like,
and I've seen it as well. I've seen other guys do it with their girlfriends, and then they open up a bit too much, and then it's like the roles are reversed now, and he's upset and he's crying and he's like, this has happened, this, and
now
it's like
he's in his feminine, she's in the masculine in that moment.
And she'll get like ornery, and she'll start holding resentment because she's like, why are you not doing what I need from you?
Yeah, and he's put all his problems on, and I don't think it's just in a relationship. I think you have the same with your family and friends as well. When you put a lot on, so a lot of people, unless they're already like here and they've already walked the path you've done, when you're telling, when you have like bigger goals and bigger expectations, and you're telling people who just don't understand, and then it might make you think, I've told one person before, they didn't help me. What's the point in telling anyone else again? It's like, if you're going to talk about it, then you got to look forward. Like, all right, here's my problem. How do I fix it? Yeah. Rather than like, here's what's happened back here. Yeah. I'm still upset about it. I don't want to get over it. I want to complain about it just because I'm not over it. Then it's like, oh, how can this person move past this apart from tell you it's okay, everything will be fine, which is not great advice for most people, getting told everything's going to be okay and everything's going to be fine. I always try and look for like a solution to whatever the problem is. Yeah. And then it's like, all right, this is how we move forward then.
And what I like is, I was curious to understand a little bit about how you operate as a man and with your emotions, and I kind of got a good grasp just on the few things you said where you're mindful. I mean, as you face a situation, you just started saying out loud, the questions that you're asking yourself, like, can this person help me with this particular situation? Is this something I've been through before? You're really you're placing yourself in that present moment and taking the time to go, let me think this through really quick before I just act off emotion. Like, let me really try to make sense of this. And I'm assuming that there's probably, again, you started talking about just now, you're like, I went to that person before, it didn't work, so why would I go back to them and have that same conversation? So then you likely take that conversation to somebody else. And so I'm guessing that you probably have, loved ones in your life and male figures as well, where it's like, I can go to those guys for this situation and talk to them about that, and then I can go to talk to her about this. I'm in a men's group. And what I love about it is, like, we can talk about, and I totally agree with you. You mentioned, a lot of men, we're our focus is like being able to provide financially, being able to provide for our future families. That I think a lot of, that's a lot of stress that a lot of men just feel that on our shoulders. It's like, okay, now that we start, that next chapter of life, we have kids. Okay, now I'm going to be the one to provide. The woman can provide, and this is where now women are they're out earning men at this point, and so there's a lot of shakeup, and based on how you're raised, it's like, are you old fashioned where like the woman is the caregiver? I grew up in an environment, my mom was the caregiver, my dad was the breadwinner, he was the one making the money, but then now it's becoming more like commonplace where people can they're both working, and so it's like trying to understand where you fall in with that. But I think what's really, really cool to see is, like, you obviously possess a sense of emotional maturity, because I mean, you're asking those questions, like, you're being thoughtful and mindful in that moment. And I think a lot of men that I know aren't that way. Like, they don't step back and ask questions. Why do I feel this way? Where is this coming from? Can this person help me? Should I take this over here? I've just found that a lot of men don't do that. They don't take that time, and that to me is emotional maturity. So it's cool to see that you have a grasp on that. I just more so want to bring light to that and say, like, I think it's really awesome that you can do that. And I don't know if that's something that you grew up with and always had alongside you, or if it's just something that you just learned over time. I personally like learned through experience. I went on a date with someone here locally. I'll never forget this. I'm sharing my past struggles, and she's like, I could feel she was not like impressed, but she's like, wow, he can talk about his past struggles. And that's, I love that. Like, most men won't share. And so I could tell it was almost like a turn on for her. But the second I started talking about what I was currently struggling with, she went into caregiver mode. She instantly went into, oh my gosh, well, like, I think, you're such a great guy and you could do this and this. And like,
trying to fix you.
And she was trying to fix me. But all of a sudden I could start feeling the date turning into like a therapy session.
Yeah.
And I almost watched her, like the interest in her eyes drain out. And it was a really great experience, because from that point forward, I was like, I went to the guys group and I said, I just had a conversation with a woman. I just realized that I can't share everything. Like, I can share past struggles because that means I've overcome them. And that might be, a turn on for a woman to be like, this is a man that's being open and vulnerable, but with the caveat that I've overcome it. So that's attractive. But when the second you talk about something you're currently dealing with, it's like, it can flip. And I found that it does oftentimes, where it's like, I want to be here for you, but I can't see you now in a light of like that I want to potentially date you, because like you got a lot that's going on, and now like my motherly instincts are kicking in, and I'm trying to now save you.
Yeah,
we're talking about this similar the other day. Like, she's like writing like a mini book at the moment. She's like, oh, you should start writing a book. I'm like, I'm on the last chapter. I got 2 things in my head I need to complete before I can round this all off, because I'm still in it right now. I'm still like in the mode. And still like on the storyline in terms of like, here's the end goal. Here's, even though you've ticked loads of things along the way, I was like, until something like that, you could actually tick off. It's a bit like saying your past struggles. It's like, well, there's my past struggles. I overcome these, but there's still the ones I'm currently in right now. Yeah. These are the ones I have to still carry on and tick off and keep working towards. And then once I get there, then it's like, all right, now I can give advice to everyone, because been there, done that, taken every direction there's been.
What are those 2 things?
Yeah, because I feel like life's always like constant struggle. So you're never going to be at an end destination. So that's why I'm telling him, I'm like, just start it, because unfortunately, it's probably not going to be 2 things. It's going to be the rest of our lives. But like, just showing tools and showing your story is going to, I think, impact so many people.
Yeah.
As little ones along the way, I guess, like, having my eye injury, going, there's loads of different lives I've already lived, and there could be many ones, but it's like there's like the end goals as well. So you can round it off. It's like, this happened, but then I overcome it, and I overcome it because these things did happen, and overall, I managed to get to the end destination anyway. Yeah. And that's the kind of overall target. So it's as soon as I don't think a lot of us give ourselves enough credit, or pat on the back, even so, because so it's easy to, like they said, compare or think like you haven't done enough or you're not doing enough, and you just never the point. You think, oh, actually, compared to how it could have ended up, I could have been working in home base. Yeah. That's like a B&Q. I don't know what you have out here. Well, that's why I started off. And when I was young, when I was like 17, I thought, this is probably, I'll be lucky to become a manager at this store. And when you have like when your goals aren't aligned or correct, or you're not dreaming big, but then you think, oh, actually, how it could have turned out. And then it's like, oh, well, if I actually manage to pull these other things off and then get to the end of it, it's like, oh, actually, sometimes you've got to give yourself a pat on the back. Yeah. And I say that to her as well. It's like, she's a great person before she went on the show. She's a great businesswoman before. Really pretty girl and everything. And I was like, oh, look at everything else you've done along the way. And I think right now, which she's good, she like reminds me, because sometimes you kind of like get complacent. It's like, oh, actually, I was so hungry when I was younger, and that kind of like life gets easier, and you earn more money and stuff. You think, oh, actually, but then I think a new fire in her has created a new fire in me. I was like, actually, it's just a choice. It's like, why don't I get hungry again? Why can't I become desperate for something again? Like I haven't done for years. I was like, actually, why don't I fight for something real again? Because
I love that.
Things have been easy for ages. It's like, it's easy to get.
She reignited that fire.
I think when you're younger, you set these goals for yourself, and especially if you think that all you're ever going to be is a manager at a store, which could be some people's dream. It's
there's nothing wrong with that.
Nothing wrong with that. But like, if you start to go up in do things that you never thought possible, you have to reevaluate your goals and you have to make bigger ones. Otherwise, the purpose of life literally is to continue to grow. If you're not growing, you're dying. You're not going to feel like you're fulfilling your potential, and you're not going to be happy. I'm also a huge believer in God and faith. And I think that in this world of reality TV, you get really lost. Personally, I never was surrounded by people in the reality world that were very open about their faith and people that, stood on business about it. It was more like, yeah, I believe. And that was all. And I think the more that I'm starting to be confident with myself and surround myself with people that align with my values and my beliefs, I'm starting to feel more empowered by that. And I feel so free. Like, I feel like I can talk about, God and my struggles and how he's helped me openly without feeling like, wait, like I'm talking about like a mystical Santa. Like, no, like I'm talking about like God, the one and only. And that's what I believe in. And, he didn't grow up so spiritual and religious, but he's we go to church together on Sundays. I send him the services, and it's something that brings you and your partner closer together, whether you like it or not. It really, in my opinion and my experience, it has talking about something greater than your own ego. And it's a necessity in relationships, in my opinion. So that's cool. And even you're talking about a men's group, I've been dying to find a woman in men's group. I would love for him to meet people that are, amazing men to surround yourself with, because you are who you surround yourself with.
Absolutely.
And I want to surround myself with, women that are older than me that can give me advice that I respect. And so it is hard to find your community, but I'm hoping that I find it soon. So.
Yeah. And again, I think the energy that you put out, you will attract it back, because again, people that see themselves in you will naturally gravitate towards you. And so you want to find people that are vibrating at that same frequency. And I found it's as I started putting all this stuff out there, I started to find those people. And for what it's worth, I just want to mention this. I think you guys, it's very refreshing. You're some of the most, I can tell, I feel the energy. You're two of the most genuine people that I've met from reality television. And I think I was very burnt by reality TV when I came off it, because at first I thought these people are all actors and fake. And I realized that that's not true. There are some very authentic people. There are also some people that play the game, but even the people that play the game can end up being very authentic. They just they're a role player. And so
stuck in a role.
Yeah, exactly. But maybe they play it just because they're that's the character I play, but they can still be genuine in their own rights. But I do think it's two things. I mean, again, I feel the energy from you both. I also think it's awesome. And it makes sense that you two are together, because you really feed off each other and you wake up every day and it's let's go be great. She's lighting that fire in you, and vice versa. And I've always said, I'm always best when I'm in a relationship, right? When I'm waking up and growing alongside somebody to that just gives me that additional push. Let's wake up and do, some great shit today. So I love seeing that. I can tell, I feel that in between the two of you guys. Honestly, I know that we could talk forever and ever. This was awesome. Thank you both for coming on today and being a part of this experience. For those that want to continue to follow your journey, I know that they can follow you guys on your social media. So if you want to plug that, and then also anything that's coming up that you guys want people to keep an eye out for.
Oh, well, thank you as well. And Olivia said not too many jokes today, so I've been
shut up, man.
Simmering them down.
You could have let it fly.
I'm joking.
No, but I appreciate your serious side too, man. Yeah.
I got nothing to plug right now. I don't think. If you want to day trade, then hit me up.
Oh yeah, talk about it. You are passionate about day trading, and it can do really well for people.
If you want to learn how to day trade, hit the link in my bio. If you don't, then
then you don't. Then you don't.
Keep doing what you're doing.
There you go.
Yeah, you can follow me on my social medias at Olivia Kaiser, Instagram and TikTok until I guess it goes away. And then I will be putting out a little ebook about my life and some spicy and crazy stories along the way of reality TV. So that'll be interesting. And then, if you don't watch The Challenge already, it airs on Wednesday nights, and I believe you can stream it on Hulu Live or Paramount Plus or MTV. It's honestly everywhere. So watch us on The Challenge, and hopefully, I was honestly law of attracting 90 Day Fiance because he lives in London. So that would be amazing. If anyone knows any connections out there, hook a girl up. But otherwise,
Well, Olivia, Theo, thank you so much for your time today.
Yeah, thank you.